Welcome back to the Beyond Money podcast, where we explore the people, ideas, and innovations shaping how we live, work, and plan for the future with a focus on financial well-being, business growth, and meaningful impact. Today's guest is someone who truly embodies forward thinking, Dr. Darya Yegorina, visionary leader, entrepreneur, and global advocate for digital transformation, AI strategy, and future-focused leadership. Darya is the founder and CEO of Cleverbooks, an award-winning edtech company based here in Ireland, using augmented reality to transform how children learn. In this conversation, we talk about how she built Cleverbooks from the ground up, her passion for redefining education through innovation, and why embracing change is essential, not just for business, but for the next generation. We'll also dive into the opportunities and challenges around AI, what it really means to be a future-ready leader, and how to stay grounded while making bold moves. This episode is full of inspiration, strategy, and the kind of big picture thinking that reminds us why doing good business starts with doing it differently. Darya, it's lovely to have you in the studio this morning. Thank you so much for joining myself and Nick. I'm really interested in finding out about your story. I've read and listened to a lot of the podcasts that you've done, and you are a woman with many, many talents. So would you like to introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about your backstory?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Absolute pleasure being here. And I'm jack of all trades. If you know till the end of this proverb, because not everybody does.
Well, I would say you're probably master of many as well.
Yeah, well, jack of all trades is they say it's the master of none, but sometimes it's better than the master of one. So, and I think it's important skill for any entrepreneur to have multifaceted experience and understanding of all areas of the business, from marketing to sales development, product development, operations, and anything and everything. A little bit of everything will help you at least to start your own venture. And that's something that helped me in life, in business, in opening my ventures, and also in working for the jobs for the corporate world.
And that entrepreneurial journey that you've been on for many years, bring us back to where that all started for you.
So let's talk about Cleverbooks, maybe, because before the Cleverbooks, I did have a couple of other companies. They didn't leave that footprint in my heart as Cleverbook does, and that's associated mainly with the whole idea that I want to leave something meaningful rather than something beyond money.
So Cleverbooks is an amazing concept. Talk to us about it and tell us exactly what it is.
So the idea was born of my crazy approach of combining something that you can't combine and putting the things together that don't look like they can match and fit and work together, but they at the end do. And that's something, all the great ideas happen to be that way. The only thing with Cleverbooks is that it was a little bit ahead of time. And everything we bring is ahead of time a little bit, but it comes and catches up with the time. So the why I love it so much is because it's connected to education. I'm absolutely passionate about it. I didn't have access to the education myself when I was a kid at school. So just giving you an example, when you're studying the computers and computer technology, just by opening the textbook during the class without having a computer and just writing down what's in there as the shortened version. So that's not the computer studies. And that back in the days, I thought I want my kids to study better than I did. I want the kids in the world to have better access to the education. And it is possible with technology. So the point of 2017, having a mobile device is a norm. Mm-hmm. It's not something like, oh my God.
And I think it's probably been a barrier to books for younger kids as well, because it distracts them and they don't have the same attention span. And I see it kind of myself as a parent.
It's a concept of digital native. So we are all digital immigrants. And they who were born in the age of having the mobile device or seeing the mobile device with the parents' in the parents' hands, here you go. Why would I need to open something the hard copy, or taking the pages of the book and looking through them is for our generation. Digital natives are different. So that's why their attention span is a lot shorter than ours, and they need more digitization in their life. So that's why looking through having the digital concept of the overall technology and applying it with the 3D virtual worlds is one of the ideas that sparkled my mind, because I have the kid myself, and she was like really, really small back in the days when I started with Cleverbooks. And that also something that she loved, the concept, when she takes mobile device and then she sees mobile device, the physical object, and then something digital pops up and it starts interacting, and you can move it, you can do something with it, or you can just observe it, turn from different sides. Like you can't have the elephant in the room, but you virtually can.
Yes.
And that's what Cleverbooks did. And then we didn't know how to market that, because we started reaching out to teachers and parents and schools. And the main problem was that we were talking to digital immigrants who were saying, like, we taught that way. How does it fit curriculum? What it is at all?
And the schools probably aren't set up with the devices to kind of back up.
Most interesting
AR
policy that they have. You're not allowed to use your mobile device at school.
Yes.
Like you're forbidding something that is the future. And that's the problem, that the concept of schools is created by people who studied in a different way, and they're not really catching up with the world. So if you've heard of what is AR or what is AI, and you're starting doing the questionnaire from parents, like, would you like to integrate that at school today, when the whole world out there is using it, when the kid is at home and looking through different short videos on social media and seeing all this technology, there is the misunderstanding of what is in it for me at school, what kind of skills the school is teaching me to address in the world out there. And that's a huge question.
And sorry, Darya, just in simple terms, maybe for people not familiar with Cleverbooks, and I was looking at it this morning, and I'm sorry if this oversimplifies, but I have a very simple way of seeing things. I noticed one of the apps that you have, if that's the right way to call it, it was for, maps and, geography, and for children to learn about different countries in the world. Is it that it brings like a country, let's say Cyprus, which is where my parents are from, and puts it in more visual ways for them to understand and learn? I'm just interested in exactly what it's given the child, what makes it.
It's a very good question. Okay, let's dive into like what is exactly we do. So we have products for parents or for homeschoolers, and separately for schools. And the separately for schools product is something that pivoted out of our initial core products. Initial core products, and the ones that you're talking about, is the map, it's different books on mathematics in a fun way, with the exercises in the fun way, and components with the augmented reality. It's the building blocks that you put together, you glue together, like literally you download the PDF, you glue them together, and then you put your camera on of the mobile phone on with the app, and you see different mathematical objects there. So I mean, fun, it's like hands involved and stuff like that. So the product itself is a printed version. And if you take the map specifically, it has the focus on, it's called geography. You can't call it simply a way, but we need to simplify somehow. Yeah. But in fact, it's not only geography. It teaches you different continents. It teaches you animals. It teaches you political state of different continents in the world, capitals, monuments, and UNESCO sites. It shows you animals and what sounds they make. You can feed them and see what they eat, what they don't eat, things like that. You can see time zones. You can see dinosaurs and insects that are located in different parts of the world. You can do you can pop up the whole Earth, and then by scrolling and moving the tag in there, you can see how Earth unfolds, and you can see different layers, tectonic plates. It's like a lot more content than geography, but we just simplified it.
But that's fabulous, especially for people that are visual learners, because I think the thing is, when it comes to books, we're not all made to just read books, and some people do learn differently and learn visually. So Cleverbooks is targeted at what age group?
So we focus on primary school, but we see that middle schoolers started using it, so we introduced different products. And you said books, so we have now the app where any kid, any teacher, anybody can create the augmented reality in any book.
Okay.
So you take your school book, It might be boring. You see the picture and say, "Oh, I want to create the augmented reality in that book, on that picture." So you use the app. You target. You create the target of that visual, 3D, 2D visual, and then you can overlay with video, with audio, with you can say something there that as you describe, or you can say, "Okay, I want something in 3D popping up there." And that's something you can do already yourself with the apps.
And Darren, we have a lot of business owners and people that maybe are looking to get into business and set up a company, and it's becoming something that we've seen more and more. And as business owners ourselves, we're just interested in, like, even your own story. Like you spoke off camera about, you have set up many businesses, some that you've said have been more passionate to you, some that haven't performed. This entrepreneurial spirit, like, is there any advice that you could give to people who are listening, who are maybe interested in setting up a business, or may have a business that's not really doing what they feel? And I said earlier about, you seem to have this, like, no fear of failure.
Everybody has a fear of failure. Is the way you treat that fear of failure. Some people may say, "Yeah, I fail and don't want to start again because I'm afraid of failing again." In my case, yes, I fail. I'm fine failing because I learned from this. And I know it's kind of sounds like everybody's saying that, but it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
I think that in everything you do in life, you just don't notice. You treat some failures bigger, some failures smaller, but all of them, everything is, let's put it this way, everything is colored neutral.
Mm-hmm.
You're the only person who is bringing that color, too negative, too positive, and or maybe some gray area. So you just treat failures like something, okay, that's good. I've learned. And it's painful sometimes because still you're a human, you can't, fight your emotions, and you just understand that you fail at some point. But I always think, like, I calm down the emotions, say, okay, what have you learned? What would you do differently next time? What would be, your next step in the journey that you try to eliminate this type of mistake? That's all. And I think they're good. And they're even better.
Have mentors played a role in your journey? Have you had people that have mentored you throughout building Clever Books, in terms of maybe, the marketing of it? Or I know you're working on Clever Books with a friend of yours based in a different country. So Clever Books is obviously available worldwide.
Yes.
Yeah. But talk to me about that and mentorship, maybe.
Yeah. So it's worldwide. It's in different languages. It's when I'm saying that, I can't believe it myself because it started with the crazy idea over the glass of wine. But but sometimes those ideas start. Yes, they did, because sometimes you face the situation where you're lonely. And it is actually, it is a sad part, even if you have a co-founder, but you differentiate who is doing what. Mm-hmm. And sometimes your co-founder just doesn't have the skills, doesn't have the experience to do or to advise you what you have to do. I did find mentors. How I did them, like, there are so many platforms. I used the Micro Mentor one, and she did the same, because I said, listen, it's useful because at least you talk to people. And some mentors were sticking with us for a couple of sessions. Some mentors were sticking with us for longer. Mm-hmm. Some contributed less, some contributed more. But all of that, sometimes you don't even need the exact contribution, but the conversation with the person sparks an idea.
Totally.
And that already drives the whole different way, the company, the way you build business. Yeah, mentors are really important, at least to generate the ideas, because we found times that when we are together, we're generating the ideas, we were stuck and rotated in the same circle of ideas.
Yeah.
But when you bring somebody outside, this person might have different experience, different values, different understanding of things, and lives in, let's say, completely different geography, which is fantastic. And another mentor that was absolutely beautiful for us. There were thousands of users of Clever Books. Those guys who are our users were fantastic mentors, because we constantly get the feedback. We somehow,
and you have to be able to take feedback, I suppose, negative or positive.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes it's the negative feedback that drives you on to kind of
Sometimes our users were telling us in brackets which direction they were using the product. For example, we didn't know that in the countries where English is not the first language, people were using it to study English. and remember the words.
Yeah.
Because we had a couple of interviews with the teachers, like, why, how did you come up with the ideas? Like, but it's obvious, like, you kind of show the elephant and say elephant, and it moves, it does something, and kids remember it better than you just say the word elephant or write it on the blackboard.
Yes, yeah.
I said, okay,
it's all
that's
connected
cute.
with the kind of pictures.
Tell us briefly your experience on the Irish Dragon's Den.
Oh, that's a fun experience. This is something that's quite remarkable. I was back in 2018, and augmented reality was not something extremely obvious, like we have AI today. And it was difficult to bring across the whole idea. Like, when you're talking about the technology that everybody doesn't know, some people heard of it, have an understanding, and I came up across, and I remember the whole 2019 was a difficult year for me because we're trying to talk about technology, and it's about failure, by the way, on top of this.
Yeah.
When you talk about technology, and I learned something about other people. People do not want to accept they don't know something. They'd rather say they do know this and pretend rather than telling the truth. How I figured this out, because when you're talking about augmented reality and you want to, and you ask the questions what the person is right now doing with it, and you understand that the flow of conversation is going like, I downloaded the application on my computer, and you realize that you have only Android and Apple. It's like, okay, something is off here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one thing. So it is difficult to talk about something innovative, even with the people who work in the field. So I did show in the Dragon's Den about
and
the whole experience.
what were you pitching for?
I was pitching for actually not the books that we have now for educational space, but more for the really small kids, where you have the stories and small video associated with
And
the
what
stories.
kind of investment were you looking for?
So it was the typical 25% of the stake for 50K of investment. Obviously, I didn't get it because of multiple reasons. So some of them, maybe the technology was not known. Some of them, maybe they found it too risky to invest in the emerging tech. I think that even
and how did that make you feel when they didn't invest?
Oh, absolutely fine.
Yeah.
I felt inside me that would be the case, because I was not pitching a soup or a sauce or something obvious that I can show. What I was showing there was a printed book and the camera, which was showing something that didn't exist in reality.
Yeah.
And it's, if the big AI wouldn't be backed up right now by huge companies like IBM, like Microsoft, like Meta, I think they would be in the same position like AR in 2018.
Yeah, I mean, it's so we look at the kind of the last, I suppose, what is that, 7 years, and how things have changed dramatically. Digital transformation is probably an area that you're passionate about. Talk to me a little bit about how you think it's going to affect businesses. I mean, we're looking obviously at AI from our own perspective in financial services and what we can do to kind of integrate it into our own business. But how important is it for business owners to stay with the curve, try and, learn as much as they can about digital transformation?
Super hot topic right now.
Yes.
And I'm actually invited this year specifically, being a keynote in certain corporate companies in Ireland. And the hot topic and always the driver is AI, how we can ask people to use AI, how AI could be implemented. And I think many companies are going that way. I can tell you in the simplest terms that you can build your own AI without coding experience in 5 minutes or less, just using the and creating like literally automated AI workflows. In my view, and I still will keep to my point of view that AI is lacking creativity as such. Mm-hmm. It does provide some ideas of creativity. It does show a lot of video generated content and anything. But you need to, in my view, it is because it has some background from requests from people and information input from people, and just it's able to take what it has and just consolidate and come up with something similar but different, or a combination of certain ideas that are already out there instead of being super creative. And I think AI is a helping friend to eliminate routine automated process. So anything
totally.
that...
And I completely agree with you.
from the operational perspective, you need to look at it like, okay, what are the tasks that I can automate? What are the conversations or support or anything that I can, automate today with AI, so I can free up time to be more creative, to do things that...
Well, it's the mundane tasks that take time within a business. If they can be automated by AI, it makes sense.
Yeah, and it can be. It can be within 5 minutes, no coding, nothing.
And then there are those people like myself who are maybe struggling to really get fully familiar. Like
Let's put it this way. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
You think you struggle because nobody showed you the way.
Nobody showed me the way.
Yeah, it's true though.
But it is true. But as a business owner, and you've made reference to this, that there's so many different facets of being good at marketing, being good at, being the chief bottle washer, being the person that has to learn. And my core skill was financial advice. So I'm very good at interviews, and maybe some of the other aspects I wouldn't be. So I've learned, and I've managed to get a great team, including Cliona, who's great at other things, which has helped a lot. And what about for the business owners that are maybe on their own? And for example, I try and use AI once a day. That's in my diary. It's ridiculous. I go from different ones like ChatGPT. Now I'm using this one, Claude. Is there anything you could say to people who are at that very initial level? I know you say you could do it in 5 minutes, but for me, that just seems like
you
alien.
can do it in 5 minutes, not me.
Yeah, no.
I can do maybe it in 4.5.
Maybe a bit less. But is there anything you could say to those people that are still not quite embracing it, or they know it's coming, but they're waiting, to see, and they're going to benefit from perhaps these big tech companies that will launch, I assume, and make it...
Where does somebody start?
Where does
That's
somebody start?
where does somebody start?
Okay. There is one advice that will help. I know it might sound ridiculous, but I will tell a little bit of the backstory of it. You need to start being curious. That's all. That's the key to success in being an entrepreneur or working somewhere or learning something new. I can tell you a little bit of my background story. So I was born in a city at the outskirts of the mining city, where, coal mining city. This is like only coal mines, nothing else. And technology was that, excuse me. I saw computer the first time in my life when I was 19 years old.
Wow.
19, okay? So before that, I saw it in the book, cute, and I was writing, what it is. So, but I could have stopped by staying in my city and doing the coal mines, maybe. And my parents were engineers, so they were working for the National Electrical Enterprise. And they said, it's a safe job. You just go study the same, and you're going to be doing this. And I said, no. I want to study languages. And they said, what do you know? What do you need languages for? Like, who needs that in our city? I said, who told you that I want to stay here? I want to do something different. I don't want to be here. And I want to be curious. I want to learn something new. I was always reading a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know where it was coming from, but it was probably natural curiosity or something I developed, something that was resisting me, like, you don't want to be there.
I wonder, is it because you didn't have access to computers, which kids do now? It was so different then because, I don't know, or maybe you were just, I do think some people are better readers and more curious maybe than others.
No, some people have better motivation than others. And I think I had a strong motivation, which was kick in my back, that I don't want to live this life.
When did you leave? When did you leave?
So I left to the capital city. And then after that, I had the opportunity, and I was already after the first degree. Then I got the second degree in the capital city. Then I moved to the international company, and then I got the contract to work in Ireland for 1 year, and then this is how I stayed.
Okay.
So I was thinking like, okay, I'm going to work for 1 year. International experience is always good. And then I decided, I love the country, so I better stay. But what was driving me through all this is natural curiosity. So I could have stopped, actually, got the job and I could have stopped. But there is something inside me that says there is more interesting stuff in life. There is something else that you can do. There is something else that you can develop. There is some other ideas that you can implement with the background that you can help people. And I know that something that is educational product, it is really early for people to understand that education is the key. There is a good...
And I'm just thinking, because you obviously have a passion for, is there a book that you would recommend for somebody that's starting out on this? AI journey are, you talk about being curious, but is there something, little recommendation? Is there anything as a first step to start? Where would you tell somebody to start?
It's so difficult. There are so many books. I'm reading about 100 plus books a year, approximately. Follow me on Goodreads.
Yeah,
like everybody said, follow me there.
Yeah.
Find me and follow me on the Goodreads because I'm doing the books recommendations specifically for the business. I do that on the LinkedIn as well. And there are a lot of books that can structure something. I can't say that this one book changed my life. No, I can't say that.
Yeah. No.
Certain books are good when you are looking into culture and how to deal with other countries. Oh my God, I have so many stories where I failed and raised again when I was promoting clever books like in Emirates, in China, and all that stuff. That was so funny stories there, maybe for a different podcast. Then there are certain books that can help you with operations and structuring your time. There are certain books that can help you with building strategy and looking into the future. But I think the driver always, no matter which book you read, you can read the book and forget it. You need to do two things. You need to take at least one idea that you can implement today, and then it's going to be a success of reading the book. It'll be a 300 pages book. That's fine. But you can take one idea, learn something new, and then your time is not wasted. And I think curiosity is the driver of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the most important. And I think that's something that the humanity is losing, in my view, through education and everything. And I see that in the kids
I think AI is probably killing that a little bit. But the thing is, it's about using AI to challenge and to be able to challenge you. And that's where I use it as a kind of I'll put whatever it is that I'm working on into AI and say, am I missing something? Is there something here that I can, it's about using it as a kind of a buddy.
True story.
You've done a lot of, and you've said it, corporate talks, TED Talks, speaking around the world. You are a corporate speaker, and you can be found obviously on lots of different websites. When I searched anyway, but how easy is it standing up in front of, you said that you've spoken to groups of over 2,000 people.
Yeah. It's not easy.
Yeah. So I think all of us, well, certainly for me, I don't like public speaking. I kind of shy away from it. Nick, how do you feel about it?
I'm the same. I feel very uncomfortable in that audience. So I'm just interested to sort of hear.
How do you embrace those vulnerabilities?
Okay. So I use two things. Thing number one, when I come on the stage, and it doesn't matter how big the audience is, of course, it's easier when it's smaller, then you can interact with the audience. But when you stand in the audience of 2,000 people or more, or you have them online, you can't really have this eye contact or anything. So you just tell yourself when you're on the stage that people are here to listen to your idea. People are here to learn. When they came here, they are curious of what you have to say, not to judge you, not to judge the way you are dressed or maybe the way you forget the words. Especially like for me, sometimes it's really difficult to catch the word in the language that I'm speaking now because I speak fluently 5. And sometimes I have other words from other languages popping up, which have the same meaning, but it's a different language. And I can't really put it in the context because people didn't get it. So that's why you just be there, be you, and just say what you have to say. And imagine you are talking to group of your friends and telling the story at the table, at the barbecue, or over the glass of wine, or I don't know, juice, whatever you drink. And then make yourself comfortable in these settings. And second thing, as an example of whatever you do, like in my example, I teach Pilates for over than 10 years. And I always imagine myself in front of people where I'm doing the exercise, which is physical, I'm moving, I'm telling people what to do, and I'm observing what they do and correcting if they do something wrong. And it's way more difficult than being on the stage, waving hands and, telling something, and that's it. So always try to compare the situation you're in at the stage with something that you do in your normal life, and you do it easily. That's it.
Yeah. It's really interesting because, I'm 51 years of age, and I feel like I've a lot of experience in dealing with different types of people and, really, detailed, meetings that I have. And yet we started playing tennis together. And I find it even more nerve-wracking, just, excuse the pun, but playing tennis in these kind of mini tournaments at a very basic level, I should add. And it's interesting because it's allowed me to start to be kind of more comfortable in other aspects, as you said. You know, I find being in that sort of
What do they say? Feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
And
there you
it's
go.
interesting, but how you bring the other pastime that you have, or you know, interest into your.
I'm still super
professional life.
nervous and I'm still super scared. And I still remember my very first presentation. I was in front of 20 people, and it was super early in my career. I was, I think, 21, and I joined the company where I had to do the presentations about the product, and they did the open evening, and people came, and I was like, oh my god, 20 people, I have to show the slides, and I have to say something. Oh my god, I was sweating, I was blushing, I still remember that feeling. Sometimes it comes up, sometimes it doesn't. Although I don't feel consciously uncomfortable on the stage anymore. I'm absolutely fine to be, doesn't matter. If you can speak in front of the audience of 10 people, it's exactly the same with 2,000 people.
And Darya, just for anyone who is interested and curious in like seeking you out, can you firstly just pronounce your full name? I was trying to get your surname earlier, perhaps, and then maybe tell people where they can find you easiest.
The easiest way, I bet I am the only one, Darya Yegorina, on LinkedIn in Ireland. It's the easiest and way to find. I bet there is nobody else with this name in Ireland. So I'm easy search. But I think you can find me with the Clever Books. If you put Darya on Clever Books, you can obviously find some resources like
I'm telling you, you put Darya into Google, and Darya Yegorina, or Yegorina is what, you're everywhere. There's no escaping it, Nick. And we'll probably finish off on this. If there was one entrepreneur or innovator that you could sit down with and have a chat with, who would that be?
Oh, that's a very good question. I think it should be. I would prefer, a speed dating with many of them. Because for some I have, for all of them I would have like different questions, and it could be one question. Is there
anybody that you admire in business, I suppose, that you look up to that has been very successful? And
I don't need the person. I realized in life one thing: I don't need to copy anybody. Yeah. I don't need to follow the steps of anybody. I need to be myself, and I need to compare me today with me tomorrow, and that's the way to go. Because you can take, that's why I said like speed dating with many of them. It's certain traits that you can look for. Somebody is good at time management, somebody is good at software development, somebody is curious with and does a lot of innovations, but you need to be you. You can't, by copying somebody or doing exactly what they did, you're gonna follow somebody else's path, not yours. And I truly believe that all of us are here to leave some footprint, small, big. And I truly believe that I am here to leave. Like, I will push the education part in technology because it's gonna change the lives of people. Because nobody, each time I'm asking the question, who believes that your grandparents had better education than your parents? Nobody does.
No.
Who believes that your parents had better education than you? Nobody does. And then I ask a question: do you believe that your kids will have better education than you? And nobody does. Is it a question about education? Is it done on purpose that we are following the pattern that is not applicable to real life? And that's why I wanna change it the way I can. Small, steps, maybe not everybody at a time. But I think if Clever Books is here to exist, it's for a reason. And it's because I'm being myself and I'm not copying anybody because I don't want to.
Well, it's fantastic. And I think, just to clarify, it's cleverbooks.eu is where people can find you, find the website. Yeah. And then they need to go and download the app.
Two things.
Oh, yeah.
So if you are a parent, you go to cleverbooks.eu. If you are a teacher or a school, you go to augmented-classroom.com because it's a different product for schools, which has a lot more features. And it allows also, as a sneak peek, not only to talk to AI, which is absolutely standard thing that we have since 2018, but it has the multi-user option, which means that when everybody joins the augmented reality space, it could be one school working with a school in the other part of the world at the same time, and they could be building the augmented reality something like city or planet or some working on the project together, being completely located in different spaces.
Amazing.
And see the actions of each other.
That's great.
Thank you so much for your time this morning. And it's been really lovely chatting to you and wishing you every success as you continue to develop and grow Clever Books.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Darya.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Beyond Money podcast. If you've enjoyed the conversation, be sure to like, follow, and share it with friends, family, or anyone who'd find it valuable. Join us next time as we continue to explore the world of money and what lies beyond it.